welcome to the Daily English News program on Azərbaycan Televiziya. I'm Qocaman. On January 12th, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, İlham signed a decree on deepening of reforms in the media field. According to the decree, Media Development Agency of the Republic of Azerbaijan, public legal entity under the basis of Media Development Agency of the Republic of Azerbaijan, is established in order to support the development of the media, to continue the institutional development works in this field, and to stimulate the application of new information and communication technologies and innovations. The agency is the legal heir of Media Development Agency of the Republic of Azerbaijan under the President. The charter capital of the agency amounts to 285,405 manats and is formed at the expense of the state budget. The overall management and control over the activity of the agency will be implemented by the chair appointed by the President and 6 members of the Observation Council. The current management will be implemented by the Executive Director appointed by the President. The Cabinet of Ministers is tasked to provide the premises for the agency and resolve logistical and technical issues. The meeting held between Presidents of Azerbaijan and Russia and Prime Minister of Armenia brought significant clarity to next steps to be taken in regards to Karabakh conflict, which already became history. Another trilateral agreement signed in the Russian capital envisages establishment of a joint working group for identification of priorities in the spheres of restoration of economic and transport communicational ties in the region. A trilateral meeting held in Moscow on January 11th between the Presidents of Russia and Azerbaijan and the Prime Minister of Armenia. Statement on its results and the documents signed bring complete clarity to the situation in the region after the Karabakh War and determine the nature of measures to be taken in the near future. The emphasis in the documents signed by the heads of state on the issues of economy and communications allows us to believe that Russia, executing the mission of a direct mediator in resolving the conflict, as well as another country co-chairing the OSCE Minsk group, France, came to the conclusion that focusing not on political but on economic factors in the post-war period is of no serious importance, and the forthcoming work in this area will give an effective result in a short time. President of Russia Vladimir Putin said that today we can state with satisfaction that the trilateral agreement is being consistently implemented. We are convinced that this creates the necessary prerequisites for a long-term and full-scale settlement on the long-standing conflict on just basis in the interests of both the Armenian and Azerbaijani peoples. As one can see, the Kremlin, in the matter of sending the Karabakh problem to the archives of history and the formation of new relations between the two peoples, puts economic factors in the foreground, because Yerevan, modern Azerbaijan, should be interested in the restoration of economic ties with Armenia. After being defeated in the 44-day war, this country as a whole is experiencing the peak of the economic crisis. Vladimir Putin also understands that Yerevan, in a trade and economic sense, cannot bring any benefit to either the region or Azerbaijan, and by calling on Pashinyan, he actually makes it clear that Armenia is forced to accept Azerbaijan's conditions. Thus, in accordance with the signed Moscow statement, in order to clarify what the future priorities in transport, communication and trade and economic spheres are in the region, a tripartite working group will be created. The working group will hold its first meeting until January 30. A list of the main directions of work arising from the 9th article of the statement of November 10th will be formed. Railway and road communications have been established as priorities. The co-chairs of the working group will determine the composition of the expert subgroups. Expert subgroups, within a month after the meeting of the working group, will present a list of projects. By March 1st, a list and schedule for the implementation of measures involving security and the construction of new transport infrastructure facilities will be prepared. Of course, in any case, Azerbaijan is the winner, having as dictating side ample room for maneuver in the implementation of the planned tasks. The opposite side is simply doomed to accept the rules of the game to be determined by official Baku. The statement by President İlham made in the Russian capital is another sign that the doors are still open for Yerevan and that the occupier can save himself from economic catastrophe by abandoning its aggressive plans and joining geostrategic projects. President İlham stated that 2 months have passed since the ceasefire was declared, and the fact that the leaders of the 3 countries that signed the statement on 10th November are meeting in Moscow today shows that we are determined to achieve the result and draw a line on the events of September and November. The statement signed today testifies to our intention because one of the clauses on the statement on the result of the cessation of hostilities dealt with the restoration of transport communications. This area can input great dynamism to the development of the region and strengthen security. The opening of transport communication is in the interest of the peoples of Azerbaijan, Armenia, Russia and our neighbors. Thus, 2 countries, Russia and Azerbaijan, have completely outlined their programs for the future of the Karabakh region and clearly defined the main tasks. None of these programs goes through the status of Nagorno-Karabakh and other manipulative claims. Now everything will depend on Pashinyan's ability to take constructive steps and on the correct understanding of the existing realities by the Armenian society. The appearance over the past few days on the territory of Karabakh of 62 armed terrorists from the Shirak region of Armenia makes it possible to conclude that Yerevan is still building a concept based not economic but political motives. Pashinyan's special emphasis in Moscow on the exchange of prisoners of war is based on his unwillingness to classify members of this criminal group precisely as terrorists. However, pragmatists believe that from now on such provocations of Yerevan are doomed to failure. Another fact which will disappoint the patrons of the Soros followers in some centers is that Baku is laying the foundation for a new trilateral format in the region: Azerbaijan, Turkey, Pakistan. These patrons must know what this platform means for Armenia. Not a single armed Armenian should be in Karabakh. They have to return to Armenia. This view was stated by Russian military expert Igor Korochenko while commenting on the trilateral meeting between leaders of Azerbaijan, Armenia and Russia held in Moscow on January 11th.
During the meeting held in Moscow, of course, the statement that had been signed on November 10th last year was discussed. I can say as an expert that now one of the important issues is the complete withdrawal of the Armenian troops from all Azerbaijani territories. That is, not a single armed Armenian must remain in Nagorno-Karabakh. They must go back to their native Armenia. Only Azerbaijani army and Russian peacekeepers must remain on the territory. Entrance to the territory of Azerbaijan through Lachin corridor should be possible only after the permission of Azerbaijani government. Then comes the demarcation of territories, and here USSR maps should be taken as the basis. Armenia must also present the maps of the mined areas to the Azerbaijani side, because we see the extent of mining by Armenians in these areas over the period of 30 years. In addition to that, peaceful Armenians in Karabakh should be the citizens of Azerbaijan. They should receive Azerbaijani passports. The meeting held yesterday can be assessed as an advancement of unblocking of communications. We're talking about 3 types of communications. First is the part of the road from Nakhchivan passing through the main areas of Azerbaijan and going through the territory of Armenia. Second communication, the way linking Armenia and Russia now passing through Georgia. This communication line will pass through the territory of Azerbaijan. The third communication is the communication with Karabakh. I mean the connection between Nagorno-Karabakh and the main part of Azerbaijan. These communications will enable the development of economic cooperation.
Azerbaijan is a key country of the South Caucasus region and Pakistan's long-standing friend and partner. The 2 countries are bound by an exemplary relationship anchored on common historic, religious and cultural ties. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan reported both countries have been closely cooperating on issues of mutual interest at regional and international forum. Azerbaijan, in its capacity as the member of the OSCE contact group of Jammu and Kashmir, has been steadfastly supporting the just and legitimate cause of the Kashmiri people. It's also stated that the 2 foreign ministers will discuss possibilities for the enhanced collaboration on the fields of oil and gas, agriculture, railways and education. On January 30th, the meeting of the foreign ministers of Pakistan, Turkey and Azerbaijan will be held in Islamabad. Azerbaijan's Minister of Defense released a video footage of the liberated from occupation Shaplar village of Kelbajar region. Şaplar village is situated on the same name administrative territory of Kəlbəcər region. They say its the real name is Şahbərilər. Occupied by Armenian armed forces in 1993, this village was liberated on the basis of tripartite agreement signed on November 10th in 2020. The territory of the village is rich with pastures and springs. The Ministry of Defense also shared video footages of the liberated Qapalı region. Qapalı region was liberated from occupation by Azerbaijani armed forces on October 25th last year. The region, with the total area of 802 square kilometers, is located on the bank of Bərgüşad River. The region and surrounding villages were included in the administrative territory of Qarabağ in 18th century. The area is famous for its beautiful nature, and in 1969 a state reserve was created here and Deva Forest, with a total area of more than 13,000 hectares. The territory of Qapalı region is crossed by two large mountain rivers, Hakkari and Bərgüşad. Hakkari River rises in Kəlbəcər region and Bərgüşad River rises in Ərikli Mountains. The part of the region is low-lying, but the most of its territory is mountains. Qapalı region is rich with historical monuments. Delegation led by ISESCA Director General Salim bin Mohammed Al Malik visited Füzuli region as part of a trip to the liberated territories of Azerbaijan. Members of the delegation first examined the ruins of the city of Füzuli, saw with their own eyes the traces of Armenian vandalism in the city cemetery. The Armenian invaders dismantled and took away marble gravestones. Some of the graves were desecrated, destroyed and looted. The members of the delegation stated that the desecration and destruction of Islamic religious monuments is incompatible with the concept of humanism.
An
ISESCA delegation led by Salim bin Mohammed Al Malik arrived in our country at the invitation of the President of Azerbaijan. The program of the visit includes official meetings. The second important point is visiting, on the recommendation of the President of Azerbaijan, territories liberated from the occupation, studying the state of national heritage, national infrastructure, and conveying information about everything seen on behalf of international organizations to the world community. The main task is to convey information about the atrocities and destructions, about the common human tragedy, about the damage done by the Armenian side to our culture, people and country. And during a visit to Füzuli region, representatives of this organization, together with the Director General Salim bin Mohammed Al Malik, saw the whole picture with their own eyes.
519 infections with the novel coronavirus were registered in Azerbaijan. 1,276 people recovered after treatment in the release home. 15 people have died after testing positive for COVID-19. The overall confirmed cases in Azerbaijan have reached 225,346 with 10,796 recoveries and 2,941 deaths. The number of active infections is 11,607. To detect infection cases, overall 2,279,907 tests have been conducted in Azerbaijan. The task force under the Cabinet of Ministers reported. That was all for today. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.